Essay number 60. How to become the kind of person who deserves the life you want. Let me tell you about the biggest lie you've ever been sold. From the moment you could understand competition, you were taught that happiness is finite, that success has a limit, that there are only so many seats at the table, and you better fight for yours. Think about it. School was a ranking system. Sports had winners and losers. Even love became a competition. Who could get the most attractive partner, the most Instagram-worthy relationship, the most enviable life? We've built an entire culture around the idea that if someone else wins, you lose. That if they get the promotion, you don't. That if they find happiness, there's less for you. And now we're all drowning in this me-first media culture, scrolling through everyone else's success stories, convinced we're falling behind in a race we never actually signed up for. But here's what nobody tells you. Wanting is the ugliest thing you can do to yourself. When you want something, you're literally telling the universe, I don't have this. You're keeping yourself in a perpetual state of not having. You're pushing away the very thing you're reaching for. The cosmic joke? You get what you want most when you stop wanting it. When you shift from I need this to I already am this, everything changes. When you embody the person who has what you want, it naturally flows to you. Acceptance isn't giving up, it's the root of abundance. The things you genuinely want, the real ones, not the ones you think you should want, they don't need to be analyzed and labeled and turned into vision boards. The moment you start putting words and images to them, you're creating a static picture of something that's meant to be fluid and alive. We get trapped when our ideas don't evolve as we do. You're out here in 2024, chasing a dream you had in 2014, living by rules someone else gave you in 2004. You're fighting for a life that an older version of you wanted, not realizing you've already outgrown it. So how do you let go of these outdated ideas? How do you stop living the life someone else constructed for you? First, understand this fundamental truth. There are always ways to pay the rent. Always. But there's no way to make someone love you if they don't. Real life, the kind where you actually feel free, happens one electric bill at a time, one load of laundry at a time, one sink of dishes at a time. These aren't just chores. They're declarations of independence. They're you holding your own roof over your head. They're you choosing your peace of mind over immediate convenience. And yes, you can leave. Leave the relationship that's killing you slowly. Leave the job that makes you feel dead inside. Leave the city that never felt like home. There are second jobs, extra hours, rooms to rent, couches to crash on. But these lifelines are reserved for people who value their mental well-being over looking successful. For people who know they deserve a space where they decide what's acceptable for their life. Here's something else nobody wants to admit. You're not supposed to be happy and stable all the time. If you were, it wouldn't be called life. It would be called sedation. The struggle isn't trying to be human. The struggle is trying to escape being human. Surrendering to the messiness isn't accepting defeat. It's being honest. It's being real and complicated and gorgeous and tortured and darkly nuanced and glimmeringly hopeful all at once. That's what we're meant to be. The only thing we really need to transcend is the inability to be what we are, as we are. And while we're breaking down myths, let's talk about productivity. Not every second of your life needs to be filled. A packed schedule isn't success. Working yourself to death isn't a flex. Your deepest revelations happen in silence, in stillness, in the moments when you're doing nothing. The masterpiece needs negative space to exist. The music needs silence between the notes. You need emptiness to appreciate fullness. The context matters as much as the content. Here's the paradox that'll mess with your head. Nobody can hand you happiness, but nobody can take it away either. We know this intellectually, but we're still out here begging for permission to be okay. Still seeking validation, still waiting for someone or something to make us whole. But time isn't linear the way you think it is. Everything is happening at once. You're calling into your experience exactly what you are right now. You never receive and you never lose. You always were and you always are. That knowing, That deep, unshakable knowing, that's where the real magic happens. Want to know a secret? Happy is boring, beautiful is boring, perfect is forgettable. People aren't attracted to flawless. They're attracted to interesting, to different, to people who have stories and scars and passions that mirror and complement their own. Nobody wants someone who falls apart when they think they've been called fat. They want someone who says fat is something you have, not something you are. And even if I was, who cares? Love isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about being violently, unapologetically yourself. The universe whispers before it screams. Your body whispers before it screams. That uncomfortable feeling in your gut, that's not an inconvenience, that's intelligence. Bad feelings aren't meant to be pushed down or medicated away. They're you, or something greater than you, saying, something is wrong here. Ignore the whisper, it becomes a shout. Ignore the shout, it becomes a crisis. Your intuition will not be silenced. It will project outward until the external world forces you to pay attention. Learn to listen while it's still gentle. Here's the most ironic truth about success. You achieve the most when you're doing what feels right. The people who love what they do always outperform the people who just work hard. There's an energy you can't fake when you're genuinely passionate about something. You tap into a flow state that no amount of grinding can replicate. Following your genuine happiness isn't irresponsible. It's the only real responsibility you have. Your identity doesn't have to be coherent. Your story doesn't need a through line. You don't have to package yourself neatly for other people's understanding. Stop living for your synopsis, that elevator pitch you imagine people using to describe you. You can be brilliant at 10 unrelated things. You can have 5 different careers. You can be a collection of short stories instead of a novel. You don't have to dull your multitudes just so you fit into someone else's narrow understanding of what a person should be. You do not have to be only what other people can comprehend. Here's the hardest pill to swallow. You don't actually know what's best for your life. All that planning, all that controlling, all that desperate attempting to predict your future, it's just closing you off from possibilities you can't even imagine yet. Nobody in history has ever looked back and said, yes, this is exactly what I planned. But millions have looked around and said, this is what I was meant for, even though I never saw it coming. Things will work out better than you could have designed them, but in the space between where you are and where you're going, it'll feel like everything's falling apart. Right before the breakthrough, it always looks like breakdown. The plan you made? It's nothing compared to what's actually coming for you. Have faith that you'll get more than you think you deserve. Which brings us to the ultimate truth. You have to become the kind of person who deserves the life you want. Nobody ever got what they wanted by wanting it badly enough. Nobody ever manifested through desperation. Your life will unfold in direct proportion to how much you believe you deserve. Not what you think you should have. Not what you want. What you believe deep in your bones that you deserve. So here's my question for you. Who do you need to become to deserve the life that's waiting for you? The answer isn't in another self-help book. It isn't in someone else's success story. It isn't in the perfect morning routine or the right manifestation technique. It's already in you. It's been whispering this whole time. The question is, are you finally ready to listen?